What's the best way to help poor people escape poverty? Progressives and conservatives have very different answers to this question. But before we explore those answers, let's agree on this. Both progressives and conservatives believe that the government has a moral obligation to help those who, through bad luck or unfortunate circumstances, can't help themselves. Here's what a conservative icon, Nobel Prize-winning economist Friedrich Hayek said on the subject. There is no reason why, in a society that has reached the general level of wealth ours has attained, the first kind of security should not be guaranteed to all. Some minimum of food, shelter, and clothing, sufficient to preserve health and the capacity to work. Whatever the media might tell you, there isn't a conservative out there who would not agree with Hayek's statement. As I've documented in my book, Who Really Cares?, when it comes to philanthropy and charitable giving, conservatives actually outgive progressives by a lot. Where the two sides disagree is on the role the government plays, not in protecting the poor from poverty, but in lifting them out of it. Here's a disturbing piece of data. On balance, since President Lyndon Johnson's War on Poverty programs came fully online in 1966, the poverty rate in America has hardly budged. That rate, as computed by the United States government, was 14.7% in 1966. And today, it's 13.5%. The rate has fluctuated a few points up and down over the decades. The net result is just 1 percentage point of progress. And this is after the government has spent over $20 trillion on poverty relief programs. $20 trillion, the current size of the US debt, and the needle has barely moved. Now, it's true that the official poverty rate doesn't measure consumption. Certainly, poor people today have many more things than poor people did in 1970. Across all income levels, including the poor, Americans are likely to have cell phones, air conditioners, flat-screen TVs, computers, and a car. And life expectancy has lengthened considerably thanks to overall improvements in healthcare. But it demeans poor people to say that this material progress makes poverty less of a problem. Our goal should never be to merely make poverty less miserable for people. Our goal must be to make poverty more escapable. Many progressives offer a straightforward solution: more funding for poverty programs. They believe that we need to transfer more wealth through government taxation from people who have money to people who don't. This is the income inequality argument. Conservatives have a different answer: more opportunity. Conservatives define success by how few people need help from the government, not by how many people we can enroll in government programs. When they see 60% more people on food stamps after the recession than we had before it started, conservatives say, that's not success, that's failure. You see, conservatives believe that simply giving people money doesn't help them escape poverty. On the contrary, it can keep them locked into it. Getting things without working for them is a very hard habit to break, so much so that it can become a way of life. According to my research, earning your way out of poverty is much more empowering and enduring than being supported by a variety of government programs, which do little more than maintain people in their poverty. This doesn't mean the government doesn't have a role to play. Indeed, wherever possible, the government and private charities should require people to work in exchange for social assistance. When we do this, we help people in two ways. First, through welfare, we're helping them meet their immediate material needs. And second, through work, we're helping them earn their own success, the key to a fulfilling and dignified life. Whether we're progressive or conservative, shouldn't that be what we want for our fellow citizens? I'm Arthur Brooks, president of the American Enterprise Institute for Prager University.
To subscribe to our YouTube channel, click here. To help keep our videos free, donate here.
I could never envision myself living someplace else besides here. My name is Yolanda Caro, and I lost my job in 2009. And then I went on unemployment. Everything has gone downhill from that. I took everything out of my pension. I've sold all my jewelry. I've pawned everything that I think I can pawn. I have nothing. I've applied for maybe 20 jobs already. And I thought I was gonna find a job. I figured so many people that I have helped and so many schools I helped open, that someone would give me a handout. It didn't happen. Cashier, cleaning, home attendant, and that's what they offered me. I was called back only once from Cablevision. And it's been rough in my family, my kids. You know, we're scared we're going to be homeless. The only time I go out is if I have to go to the supermarket and when I'm picking my son up from school. I don't leave this house, I don't go anywhere. My highlight is going to the supermarket. Sometimes I just pace the house and, you know, I've lost the love for my apartment because it's just depressing because, you know, you like to buy things and fix it, and when you don't have money, you just can't. When I'm really depressed, I'll go on the terrace and I'll look at Manhattan and say there's still hope. There's got to be hope.
Monica Quaister, thanks for being back with us. Germany is not the only country in Europe to promote flexibility on its labor market. Where else is it happening in Europe?
There have been several countries that have indeed been reforming their labor markets towards more flexibility. One of those countries, for example, is Italy, which passed the Jobs Act that tries to make it easier for the so-called outsiders to enter the labor market. Currently, also in France, flexibility in the labor markets is under discussion and reforms are underway. Many of these countries are trying to make it easier and more fluid for people who have been outside of the labor market for a long time to enter and incite employers to hire more easily.
But we've seen that often at times it also translates into creating a new class of working poor.
There's indeed a risk that the working poor will increase depending on how policies are designed. And we have seen in Germany, for example, that the mini-jobs and flexibility in the labor market have led to a situation where there are very many working poor, indeed the second largest low-wage sector after the United States in the OECD countries. If governments pay attention by regulating the quality of the jobs and by making sure that people are well paid, that there's adequate minimum wages, for example, and Germany just introduced a minimum wage not a long time ago to precisely address the issue of temporary and precarious work.
Germany's economy is booming, the unemployment rate is low, but at the job centres, people keep queuing up. Many have work, but they are the working poor. They have qualifications, but their badly paid, often part-time jobs or temp work don't cover basic needs. Social benefits help top up their income. Among pensioners too, poverty is growing. Monica from Berlin is trained as a sales manager, but never got a full-time contract.
They don't want to pay, I'm too expensive. They prefer to hire non-qualified workers for €8.50 an hour. They would have to pay me higher wages.
We are in Halle in eastern Germany. After the reunification, unemployment here was high. But employers complained about the high cost of labour in a competitive market. We meet Rolf Maurer, a 60-year-old craftsman. In 2003, Germany launched a radical labour market reform. Unemployment benefits were reduced and temp agencies were given the green light. The key words were liberalisation and flexibility. As a result, unemployment rates dropped but the low-paid job sector grew along with the relative poverty rate.
Herr Maurer is a very skilled craftsman. He can fix pretty much anything. He does everything by himself and finds his customers on the internet. His business model is based on total flexibility. I guess this means that some days you make good money, but others you earn nothing. What risks do you face?
Well, I never ever know what kind of work I'll get tomorrow or the day after. In addition, and it's happened to me, there's always the risk of customers not paying up.
You're self-employed, which means you carry all the risks on your own shoulders. What does this mean for your hourly wages?
The Chamber of Trade recommends I take an hourly rate of at least 35 euros, but over recent years, when I've been offering my services over the internet, I've been making much less, usually around 15 to 10 euros an hour.
His first priority is to pay the rent on his small flat. What's left is spent on tools. This means there's no money left to put into a pension scheme. As a young man, he had a permanent job at a steel mill, but the plant shut down. Then came years of unemployment and short-term contracts. The job centre told him he was too old for a full-time job. That's how Rolf Maurer became self-employed.
At my age, it's not great to have to be self-employed. Let's put it this way. When you reach a certain age, you would hope to have a normal, permanent job. At the age of 60, it's tough to start up your own business from scratch.
Rolf Maurer has no choice, and he is not alone. The number of over 65s still working in Germany has more than doubled in the past decade.
I adapt my working hours to the customer's wishes. If he wants me to work at weekends, I'll do it. If he wants me to work in the evening, I'll do it. I'm totally flexible in order to satisfy the customer.
Back to Berlin, the capital of precarious employment and the working poor, according to some, including representatives at one of Germany's major trade unions, Verdi.
The problem we face in Germany is that 1 in 5 workers are paid less than 10 euros an hour. They're the working poor. This is the result of the degradation of labour market rules. Germany is a rich country, there's no doubt about it, but Germany is also a socially divided country. In this rich country, the working poor are a reality. They are people who work 40 to 50 hours a week, but who cannot make a living.
6分1係窮人，打份工都窮到窿啊！一家4口，月入7000，屋租去咗3000，大家覺得生唔生活到呢？周女士正正就係面對呢個境況啦，靠老公打散工，生活唯有慳得就慳啦。
豆腐花嗰啲咧，10蚊3碗啊嘛，依家5蚊1碗，唔夠得買咯。
為咗幫補屋企，有時都要求助食物銀行，仲覺得貧富懸殊嚴重咗啊！
中產嗰啲咧，即係叫做咩啊？有樓就冇人住，我哋啲咧就想住就冇屋住。
其實佢哋可以申請綜援㗎，不過周女士話留返俾有需要嘅人。樂施會發表報告，過去10年在職貧窮戶由174000增加到194000，在職貧窮人口更加高達658000人，創晒新高啊！47萬人都喺貧窮邊緣，貧窮人口更加有成117萬，即係每6個人就有1個係窮人。可能你會話啦，喂，咪實施咗最低工資咯。
雖然呢個最低工資係有幫助啦，係都係將最低嗰班人呢係提升到去到即係最低工資嗰個層面咧，呢個呢仍然反映呢就係最低工資本身呢，其實都係相對嚟講係一個低嘅水平嚟嘅。
咪就係咯，完全追唔到通脹，啲錢去晒邊？去晒有錢人度啊！政府資料顯示，全港最有錢嘅10% 住戶，每月入息中位數係88800蚊，最窮嗰10% 呢就得3400蚊，兩者相差26倍。佢就話最重要係點幫低收入嘅人，好似提供家庭津貼咁。不過長遠要改革稅制，令到社會資源公平分配啊！
で新格差世代とも言うべき新しい生き方を選ぶ若者が増え始めていることが分かりました。彼らの生活ぶりを皆さんはどうご覧になるでしょうか。
早朝の駅前に集合する日雇い派遣の人たち。ここ10年余りの不景気で定職に就けなかった20代後半から30代が多い。27歳の太田康介さんもそんな日雇い派遣の一人だ。
携帯の方で紹介されてどんな場所ですみたいな全部来ますね。
仕事の詳細は毎日メールで送られてくる。今日の仕事は引っ越し作業の助手。4時間働いて4000円。交通費は支給されない。
彼ともう一人カメラリーダー。
派遣先では単純労働なので仕事の前に軽く説明を受けるだけだ。
初めての現場で不安ですか？
そうですね。ただいつもこんな感じなんで慣れてるといえば慣れてますけどね。
太田さんは九州の大学を中退し、アニメーターになる夢を追いかけて4年前に上京。日雇い派遣で生活費を稼いでいる。毎日違う仕事、毎日違う人間関係。この時点で明日からの仕事はまだ何も決まっていない。仕事が終わると給料をもらいに行く。
じゃあこちらの方がお控えと、415円と、大きい方が4000円ですね。お疲れ様です。
30分残業したので415円多く稼げた。彼はなぜ不安定な日雇い派遣で働いているのだろうか。理由を聞きに行った。
うるさいですよここは。
月12万円ほどの稼ぎの半分は家賃に消えるという。段ボールで作った本棚には漫画本がぎっしりだった。
日払いの派遣の仕事ってやってるのはどうしてなんですか？
一つはやっぱりこっち東京出てきてアニメーションの仕事をしたいっていうのがまずありましてですね。でだからただそっちの方で今のところ仕事の口がなくて、すぐにお金がもらえて、で自由に時間が取れるというか、そういう感じのところなんでまず始めてみたんですよ。
しかしいざ始めてみると仕事がある日ばかりではない。明日の仕事を求めて派遣会社に今日3度目の電話。
ちょっと今ご紹介できそうな仕事がないので、探してお電話いたしますので。
はい、お願いします。
すいません。
はい、失礼します。これで来れば御の字ですから
ない日もあるんですか？
はい、ありますね。本当には今月も家賃がなかなかまだ余分な分がたまらなくて、家賃分が
ですか。今ちなみに貯金ってあるんですか？
貯金はないです、僕は一切。
一旦日払いで暮らしを始めると月払いの仕事に切り替えられないと彼は言う。最初の給料日までの一月を暮らすお金がないからだ。時間を作ってはイラストを描き、アニメーションの会社に持ち込んでいるが、10社以上受けてもいい返事はもらえず、年齢的にも焦りを感じてきた。
もうだから本当に自分でもこのままの生活は長いことは続かないと思うんで、本当に1年か半年ぐらい頑張ってみて、それでもダメだったらやっぱりもう一回考え直さないといけないとは思ってます。
考え直すっていうのは
どうしますかね。国に帰って親に頭下げるかなだからその時はもうその時でやっぱり生活できるだけのお金を稼げる仕事っていうことで探し始めるとは思いますけどね。
A new study shows that the working poor in Singapore are not getting enough pay to make ends meet. The survey by the National University of Singapore seeks to examine Singaporeans' attitudes toward poverty. It also revealed that Singaporeans are willing to accept higher taxes if it means more help for the needy.
This is a nation known to be a haven for millionaires, so is there poverty in Singapore? Well, participants at this forum say yes, but perhaps not in the traditional sense, in a country with a relatively high employment rate. There are what's termed the working poor, people earning less than half of the average monthly income of a Singaporean, which now stands at about 3,000 Sing dollars.
Well, we do have a problem because we do have people who a large number of households are earning who are earning income in the lower end are not having enough to cover their household expenditure, especially at the lower 20%.
The study released on Tuesday showed that nearly 70% of respondents said there are jobs available for aid recipients who want to work. But 85% said these jobs are not paying enough for them to support a family. Among the reasons, the fact that about 90% of the 1 million jobs created in the last decade are from the services sector, which observers say are lowly paid to begin with. About 60% of respondents said the government is not spending enough to help the poor, and about half said they are willing to pay more taxes to help the government raise social spending to help the disadvantaged.
I feel like then we have an opportunity that we can take hold of where the government can lead the rest of us and partner together to do more for the less fortunate.
Now, the issue of minimum wage again cropped up. Speakers argued their case for a minimum wage system in Singapore, saying that social transfers by the government alone is not enough. They said there needs to be a sustained effort for companies to pay workers here decent wages. And they add it goes beyond just waiting for productivity efforts to bear fruit, even as they agree that's one way to raise real wages in the long term.
So what comes first, is it? I don't think our efforts at increasing productivity have borne much fruit today, because companies do not have to do it.
Singapore already has the Workfare Income Supplement Scheme, in which the government subsidizes the wages of a low-income worker. The study covered 383 Singaporeans across different income levels and ethnic groups.